So let's continue this. We're going to work on making inequalities based on this stuff here. So let me bring up this so I can annotate. All right. So let's recap because we have already done the first couple ones. So we're making inequalities, right? So first we looked at this one on Friday. This is all review. And we said, oh, okay, it's talking about someone's height. So I'm going to use the variable h. We always have a variable on the left, number on the right, and some kind of comparison, which in this section will be an inequality. Okay? So we have variable and a number, right? So if I pick the number, I see that they're talking about 40. So if I put 40 on a number line, we pick the number to the right and the number to the left. Now we're looking at which one is lower, 39 or 41. So basically I could list all of the answers, 39, 38, 37, 36, and keep on going down all the way to 0, right? But I want to write it a lot quicker. So instead of writing this as a list of all the possible answers that are lower than 40, I want to write it quicker. So which one is true that's less than 40? Is it to the left or to the right? The left, because 39 is less than 40. So let's pick a different color so we can see this well. I'm going to circle 40. Now to get on the right, can I be 40 inches tall? Or do you have to be above 40? What do we say on Friday? You can be 40, okay. If you can be 40, if 40 is part of your answer, so basically my answer starts at 40 down, which is equal or below. Visually, we want to get used to if it is equal to 40, you shade it in. Same as like if you're on a multiple choice test, you have A, B, C, D. How do you tell the person that you're picking B? Shade it in. Same way on here, we shade in. Okay, if that is part of our answers. So we said 39. I'm going to point here. Here's the cool part. You ready? If you have the variable on the left, you see this arrow? I'm just going to copy that arrow, and then it was shaded, right? So I'm going to put that bar since it was shaded because that means less than or equal to. What was the number? 40. Now let's recap what this means. H is less than or equal to 40. Basically, anything less than 40 all the way to 0 based on the situation would be an answer. I would have to add something so then you would know that it's not negatives, which would be this. I'd have to say 0 less than or equal to h, which is less than or equal to 40. This means height is between 0 and 40. And if we wanted to be real specific, can you be 0 inches tall? No. So when you come out, how tall can you be? What's the smallest person who ever came out? What's their height? Well, what do you think would be a ridiculous height? 5 inches? Okay. So if you think it's 5 inches, I don't know the actual answer. I think 5 inches is even, it's like that. That's like a teacup poodle. So you would change this and make it 5. Because basically you're saying your answers can be between 5 and 40. Because who is lower than 5, right? At that point, you're not even measuring a person. You're measuring your imagination. Okay? So it wouldn't really be 0, it'd be where you're starting at. So, but for this lesson, we're actually just focusing on this. I just wanted to show you there's a little bit of error because if you keep just this, then you're also talking about negative numbers. So negative 10 could be an answer because it goes on for infinity. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. That's why we would want to put this part. I shaded it out because we're not there yet. That's going to be for a later section or later in this section. All right, right here, 50 and up, members eat free. So what's the variable you want to use? S? And we said S because we picked senior, right? What was the number? 50. What's the inequality? So I put my arrows, and you can only do this trick if the variable is on the left. So put 50. What number should go here? 51. What number here? 49. Can you be equal to 50? Yeah, because of the end up. Okay, so we're going to keep it open or closed? Closed. So we're going to shade it in like it's a multiple choice test. Which one would be going up? 51 or 49? 51. So let's change this color so it's easy to see. And I would go to the right. Now, ready for some magic? Okay, copy this here, there. And we said it could be equal, so you need the bar. This bar shows that visually it would be shaded. So open or close is like, close would be equal to the number. Open would be not equal to the number. So this tells me if it's open, then it could be like if this would look like less than. Open this way, it would look like greater than. But then when it was like this and like this, but shaded, the shaded part changed it to where you have the bar underneath to say that it's equal to. So in a situation where you have to have more than $10, then I would say more than $10. I would not want it to be equal, because I want more than $10, not just $10. Now, if I needed $10 or more, then it would be like this. So I would accept if I only had $10 or more. Make sense? All right. Good question. Okay. Anyone copying this? I'm going to erase it so I can go to the next ones. Okay. All right. Let's look at this one here. If you look under 25, be prepared to show ID. What is your variable? I? Okay, so we're using I. I'm guessing because of ID, right? What's your number? 25. Now we make our number line so we can be sure on our answer. Put 25 in the middle. What number goes here? 24. Seems like an easy question, but sometimes people make mistakes on the number line. What number goes here? 26. Okay, which one would be if you look under 25? 24 or 26? 24. So we circle 25 and we point to the left. Can you look 25? Yeah, I would say so, right? Okay, so ready for magic? Take this, and it duplicates right here only if what? What's the only time I can use this trick?
If it's left to right.
Nope.
Or the variable's on the left.
If the variable is on the left side, right? So go ahead and put this, and we said that it's not equal to, so we're just going to have that. So basically, if you look 25, which is very subjective, you're not going to be, one person will say he looks 25, one person won't. But for this math problem, if you look 25, then you're fine. If you look under 25, then be prepared to show ID.
So there's no equal sign.
No equal sign on that. Okay, speed limit 75. So when you're driving, can you go 76? They'll pull you over for going 1 mile over? 1 mile per hour over?
A mean cop would.
A mean cop would. Okay. So let's do what a mean cop would do, and then we'll say what most cops will do. All right. What would the mean cop do?
Pull us over.
Okay. What's the variable you want to use?
Speed.
Okay. So speed. So I'm going to use the first letter, S. Okay. Aureliana. Sorry. What number would I use? 75. Do you have a guess yet whether it's less than or greater than? Less than? Okay. So less than 75. So you can go 20 miles an hour and that's fine?
No.
So this one is where, from that first one, when I was doing, or actually, yeah, it was from this one. Remember we were talking about it would have to be below 40, and I would say height, and I said this one would be, you told me 5, right? And it could be equal to 5. So in between those numbers, right? We're going to have to do the same thing for this one to make sense. Because if you're going 20 miles per hour, that doesn't make sense, right? Everyone follow?
Yeah, you can't go forward.
Okay, so how slow can you go before the cop will pull you over?
I think it's 4 miles under.
4 miles under? Okay. So 71? So this means, copy this down, between 71 and 75 miles per hour. So that means, though, that if I travel at 76 miles per hour, I get pulled over?
Not most likely.
Okay. Karen, what do you think it should be, though? So basically, we changed this one to make it what's the lowest you can go. Now we're going to make this one change to 75. What's the highest you think you can go without getting pulled over? Okay, so let's go with that. It's 5 over. So what would you want to change 75 to then? Talking to Karen. That is okay. 80. Good job. So remember, mathematicians are lazy. That's what you're going to find out as you do your math classes. Yeah, you can kind of argue lazy or smart. Because here's the thing. I could have gave you the same answers by saying, oh, you can't, well, let's make these equal to them. So you can be going 71 and you're fine. 72 and you're fine. 73 and you're fine. 74, 75, 76. Oh, actually, yeah, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. So these are all your possible answers that you could go, not including the decimals. But you can go all of these speeds when you're driving this freeway and not get pulled over. Which one was quicker, me writing this, though, or me writing a list? This one, right? The variable. This one might make sense to you right away because it's just writing the numbers that you could go. But this tells me very quickly what the speed limit will be.
What if we just get the average of those?
The average?
That'll take too long though. Gotta add them all up and divide it.
Oh, well, since you, like if this, I think it'll throw it off a little bit because this should be a 70, but you'll get 75 on it.
Yeah, since we're equal away and.
But the average speed, that doesn't tell you as much as a list. So like average isn't what you would want. You could say like, there's another way you could write it if we're being fair. 75 plus or minus 5 miles per hour. This tells me I can add or subtract 5 miles per hour, right? But this only tells me 70 and 80. It doesn't tell me it's okay to get 71, 72, 73, and all of the other ones. Any questions? Hard? All right? A little confusing? Okay. Well, don't worry. This is the introduction, so it's only 4 problems for the introduction. We'll have more practice. Do you have a question for me now, though? Okay. When you do, let me know. All right, let's scroll down. Engage. Creating inequalities from verbal descriptions. Now, look at those problems that we just did and answer this question. What would happen if you change each of the inequalities on the previous page into an equal sign? Would it change their meanings? Okay, so go ahead and work on this. Just about 10, 15 seconds, not too long. Explain what you think would happen if instead of an inequality, we said, here's an example. We said height is less than 40, less than or equal to, and we actually said height is equal to 40 on this first one here. All right, what would happen if we change each of these to an equal sign? So if I am comparing these two, the list here we already talked about would be 40, 39, 38, 37, all the way down to negative infinity, right? It'll just keep on going because we didn't put anything here for in between, like how we put 5 before. So what about this? What would be the list here?
There's one number.
One number. What's that number? 40. And the list stops. So 40 is your only answer. Here they're telling you how many answers you could have. Because all of these, like this one, I would take 40 and I could plug it back in and it gives me a true statement, right? 40 equals 40. Same thing as these lists. I could pick any number below 40, I plug it back in, and I'll get a true statement. Is 38 less than or equal to 40?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So any number I pick here would be a true statement. All these would be true. So that's the difference between the two, is how many answers you get. Questions? All right. Let's go to the example. Mikey's taking his permit test. Oh, Mikey's growing up. No one else is excited for Mikey? He needs to get 38 questions correct or higher. He knows he has 15 questions correct. So write this inequality that represents this situation. Then answer what is the minimum amount of questions he needs to get correct to pass. Go ahead and try this one out. Remember, here's your hint. Remember the way we approach these. We say, what variable do you want to use? What is the inequality? And then what is the number that we're going to be looking at? Now, when we have something where we're talking about a range, so this number to this number, then we have another inequality here, and another variable here.
What number? Could you read it?
Or sorry, another number. Why did I say variable? If this is really hard for you, approach it as two inequalities. Then I'll show you how to make it to where we have one. So basically make one that has a variable inequality and a number, and then make another equation as a variable inequality and a number, and then I'll show you how to make these into just this third equation right here. So we'll combine these. So if this one's hard for you to do this one, make two rules, and then I'll show you how to make it to one. All right, so let's look at this. Let's approach it by finding two statements about this. So Mikey is taking his permit test. He needs to get 38 questions, correct or higher. All right, so if I look at this on the first one, I can make a visual and I say 38. What number is to the left? 37. What number is to the right? 39. Okay, is it equal to 38?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to circle
And shade.
and shade. Okay, Aureliana, to the right or left? What do you think would be a correct answer, 37 or 39? 39. So the questions are higher, so it will be at 39. So now we have, what variable did you guys use? M for what?
Mikey.
Okay, for Mikey. Is any other variables? P for what? Okay, for permit test. So we can use either one. It's really up to you as long as you know what it's for. You want to pick the one that makes the most sense. So I'm going to go with P on this one. So we have P, and then we have 38 here. Ready for magic? Why can I put this right here? What's the reason? It's very important you know the reason. No? The variable is on the left side. So here's what I mean by that. If I have 38 and P, I can't put this here. These two mean different things because they're swapped. So this one would be less than 38. So this one would be greater than 38. So here, greater than, should I put the equal? Yeah. All right, let's do the second equation. He knows he has 15 questions correct, right? He knows he has 15 questions correct. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I misread the question when I did it the first time. So there won't be a second one. I was jumping the gun. We're ready to just answer. So it's only this one. So sorry for that confusion. Reading comprehension. That's why I don't teach English.
Wait, so what would it have to say for it to be 2?
That something like it's in between these two can be correct. Okay. So later we'll be doing ones where we have it to, let me make sure I'm recording before. Yeah, it's recording. Okay. So later we'll have ones where you do the second equation and combine it to one to do the in between. But I misread this. So we're ready to just answer it. So basically if I make this list, we have 38, 39, 40. Are you ever going to run into 15 over here? No. So he has 15 questions correct. Did he pass?
No.
No. So he did not pass. What is the minimum amount of questions he needs to get correct to pass? 38, where it starts at. So here and on. So 38.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if we knew how many questions there were in total?
You could find, like, say, to pass he needed 60%. You could find out, like, what's the total on here. Yeah, so you say number times a percentage equals a number. So you have enough information here because let's say that you wanted 60%. And you know that when you do this operation, this will be your total math score. You have 38 here, and we'll just say that this is x here. So x times 0.6 equals 38. So what is that number? So basically whatever 38 divided by 0.6 is, will give you how many questions there are on that test. But this part here, this is all on a different math problem. This isn't what we're working on right now, but that's how you would find it. So 0.6 goes in there. Almost about 60 questions because 6 goes into 38 6 times. So it's about 60 questions if it's 60% to pass. Okay, example, Joe wants to pass his history class with at least a final score of 80% or higher. His final grade for the class depends on 3 tests. On the first test, he earned a 74%. On the second test, he earned an 80%. What is the minimum score he needs on his final test to pass the class with his desired grade? Write the inequality that represents this situation. All right, try this out. Do you guys need me to zoom in a little bit more? Here, let me zoom in so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so before we get too involved with this question, let's talk about a little bit of a strategy on how to solve this. So when you're doing when you get your class grade, how do we find out your class grade? Okay, so we take all the test scores. So let's say I had 80% plus 80% plus 40%, right? And then how would I find the average? So if this was test 1, 2, and 3, how would I find the average?
Add
Add them and
divide them by 3.
y divide by 3.
There's 3 numbers.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 3 numbers. You add them up, divide by 3. So we have 80, 80, 40. This would be 160 plus 40 is going to be, oh no, 160 plus 40. So let's 160 plus 40. 3. What's 16 plus 4? 20. So this would be 200 divided by 3. 3 goes into 200 about how many times? So we do our in and out. Oh, I don't want a line underneath. 3 goes into 2, 0 times. 3 goes into 20, 6 times. That's 18 minus 2. Bring the 0 down. 6, right? So this is going to be what? 66%. Okay. So basically, if you had 80% on the first test, 80% on the second, but a 40% on the third, and there's only 3 grades, you would bring it down to 66% on that third test. Okay. So we're going to be using the same idea, but on this scenario. So I'm going to erase this. Actually, let me not erase it. I'm going to give you some time to try to apply it to this. About 2 minutes. See if you can at least start out with a strategy. Okay? Be ready to share your strategy in about 2 minutes. Work with each other. Okay, so I'm gonna just erase that first one. So what did I get on the first test? What did I get on the first test? 74 was the first test. Okay, what about the second? 80, so I can leave that the same. Do I know what I got on the third? No. So let's erase that. What should I put then if I don't know what I got on there? If it's an unknown number.
A variable.
What variable would you like to use?
J.
What does this represent here though?
A grade.
A grade. So what variable would make sense?
G.
G for grade? Okay, we could do G. I was thinking T, but we'll go along with what you're saying.
YT.
T for test, but both will work. You could even use X, which is very traditional. Should I change this?
No.
No, it's still going to be 3. Okay, up to now, look up here. Everything on here, do you agree with? Should we change anything? Now, if you leave it as this, which is an expression because it doesn't have an equal or an inequality sign, okay? If you leave it up to that, and you keep in mind the 80%, you can do what some people did and plug in different things and see if when you calculate it out, does it give you 80% or more. But since we're on inequalities and we don't have time to kind of do a trial and error, we're going to actually make a comparison. So when I work this out, what did I get? What does the 66% represent?
The average.
Average. What do I want it to be?
80.
80. So instead of working it out like an expression, I'm going to just put it over here. So I'm going to put not 66, but what this means. I want to find 80. So I'm going to put 80 right here. Now I need a comparison. So let's think to the side. We have 80 and we have our grades here. Okay, so this is our grades here. So I'm trying to think of a variable to put. So do I want this 80% to be above or below the total?
Above.
Okay. So I want this to be less than or greater than.
Greater than.
So let's see.
Or less than.
Well, here, because I'm kind of unsure even thinking about it this way. So let's go through how we can make sense of this. It's always nice to see it visually. So I can put 80 on a number line. Do I want it to be 81 is fine or 79?
81.
81, I want a higher grade. So it can be 80%, fill it in, or higher. I'm getting those words from right here. So should it be pointed this way or this way?
No.
The way it is, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have 80 greater than or equal to. Now all this trial and error stuff, or this problem before too, I can go ahead and go back, erase all of this. So instead of doing a trial or error, and after 10 plus tries getting the right answer, even if you got the right answer, you can get multiple answers because it's from 80 to 100%, right? So we can have, now we're going to solve for this. Does it look hard to solve? So when you're solving something like this, and you have this long fraction line, first simplify the top, then simplify the bottom. In this case, the bottom is already simplified because we only have a number, 3. How could I simplify just the top? Okay, what is 74 plus 80 if you're adding? What was it? 154. Genius! Sorry. Over 3 equals 80. Oh, I don't want to put equals. What am I doing? I want to put greater than or equal to 80. Okay, always keep the inequality. Now this one, let's see if you remember this from lesson 1.1. That was like the first day. What do you do on this part? So what about if I had this? A over 3 equals 7 over 5. You have a fraction equal to a fraction. What do? Cross multiply. So we're going to do the same thing. So you cross multiply, get 5a equals 21 for this example. Okay. So you would do the same thing over here. How do I make 80 a fraction? 80 over 1. Make sure to put parentheses and cross multiply. Go ahead and try that, but when you write the next spot, do not put an equal sign. Make sure you keep it as greater than or equal to. Okay, so try that. I'm going to pause the video now. So let's solve this again. So we already solved it in class, but we can do it one more time. Oh, actually I don't want to erase that. Alright, so we have 154 plus g and 80 over 1. When we solved this, we found out at the end that I made a mistake here because what did I do? What I've been telling you guys not to do forever is when you're going from this to the visual, you want to make sure that the variable is on the left. So that's why I got an error here, because when you have g and 80, you want this number to be greater than 80. So it should actually be flipped. So notice that here, it's pointing towards the g. I want it actually to be this way. That threw off my answer on the inequality for the rest of the problem. So you have to make sure that the variable is on the left. I made that mistake. And we already did it in class while I paused the video and caught it. So the variable's on the left. So that would change this over here. So I'm going to change that now, since that was incorrect. So it was wanting to eat the g here, so it needs to still want to eat that. Right? Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure that I didn't make the mistake again. All right, so now go ahead. Fraction equals fraction. You're going to cross multiply. 3 times 80 is 240. 1 times 154 plus g. Keep the same sign. Is 154 plus g. Subtract 154. Subtract 154. 154. In my head, I was already saying the answer. 86 less than or equal to g. Okay. Flip it. G, it's pointing towards the 86. So I want it to still point towards the 86. Okay, think of it as an arrow. It is pointing towards 86. I want it to still point to 86. So if you graph it, does it make sense? And this is where, when we did it in class, we graphed it, and graphing it made it seem like that didn't make sense for the answer, which is where we caught it. So we would circle, shade, it's an arrow, it's pointing here. And yeah, that makes sense because I want to get a higher test, not a lower test, if I'm shooting for an 80%. So this means that I can score 86% and above, and I will get 80% in the class. All right. Any questions on this? Okay, try this one. Trina is buying 12 shirts for the drama club. She will choose a style for the blank shirts and then pay an additional charge of $2.75 for each shirt to have the club logo. If Trina cannot spend more than $99, how much can she spend on each blank shirt? Write and solve an inequality to find the possible cost of each blank shirt. Okay, try that now. Okay, so let's talk about strategy, guys. So look up here. All right, let's say that the shirt, sometimes when it's hard to make an equation, it makes it easier if instead of having an unknown value, we make it have a value. So let's say that the shirt costs $3. So we're making up this value rather than have an unknown. So if you want to buy one shirt and put the logo, how much would that cost? So okay, you did the $3 plus $2.75. So this was the logo, and this was the shirt. All right. What about for two shirts? Okay, so I'll just add another, right? So I would say 3 plus $2.75 again. What about three shirts? Another one. 3 plus $2.75. 3 plus $2.75. 3 plus $2.75, right? So I would add these up to 3, 4, 5. Now, what if it was $4? What would I change? All the threes to fours. 5? 10. Okay, you just change them. You just keep on changing this. What if I don't know the value? Variable. Now, before I change it to a variable, is there a quicker way to do 3 plus $2.75, but I know I want to buy 5 shirts? Let's say I want to buy 15. 15, so that way it's not like I still add them, because that'll take forever. Multiply by 15? The whole thing by 15. So it would look like this. Good. Now remember what you told me. You told me this. I didn't say this. You said it. That was angry, huh? Man, I'm so tough. All right. Okay, so remember we changed all of this. We said you just replace it. So if it was an unknown, we put a variable. So for an unknown, I'm going to go back to the traditional because I don't want to spend time of saying how many this is. So I'm going to just use X, okay? If you want to use S for shirt or anything like that, you can. So we're going to put, instead of 3, what should we put? X. X plus 275 and then 15. Now, could you have come up with this equation? Well, actually expression. We haven't made it an equation yet, or an equality. Could you have came up with this without changing, instead of your unknown, you change it to an actual price? Isn't it nice to have training wheels? Right? This one makes it so much easier because I can actually imagine, okay, I go to the store, I have a $3 shirt, $2.75, and I'm just doing addition. Then I say, oh, how can I make this better? Instead of addition, we change it to multiplication. Oh, how do I make it better? Instead of changing this every time, I change it to an unknown. Now I have a formula. So if I want to buy this, but I know that instead of $3, the shirt costs $6, right? All I got to do now is change this x to a 6 and work it out. 6 plus 275, 875, 15, multiply it, much quicker, much easier. Works for all situations this way, as long as that 275 doesn't change. If it did change, look what I could do. Now I just need to know what my logo cost is and my shirt cost. That's the point of algebra, is to be able to do a lot of things quicker. To be lazy. But in a good way. All right. Now we're almost done with this. Go ahead and copy this part down. I'm going to pause the video for a second because I think it's important that you see the thinking behind it. If you only copy down our answer and then you go to study, this is going to be very hard. So I'm going to give you some time. Copy this down and then we will continue. Okay. Now let me clean this up because we are about to finish this part. So we would add a bunch. I'll just take off some of these, so if you're still copying. Now, instead of the 15, we talked about this, change it to a 12. So if you're studying these notes, then it makes sense where I'm getting that 12 from, because 15 was something we were just discussing about. Okay, so we know that it's going to be 275 for sure. We know that it's going to be 12 shirts, so we're going to use this one here. So I'm going to write that over here, 12 times x plus 275. Now, what is the max amount that I can pay? 99. So I'm going to put that on the other side. Now, we have the variable on the left again. Let's not make the same, or let me not make the same mistake as before. I'm going to switch the sides, and I'm going to put 12 over here, x over here plus 275. That way the variable's on the left side. And then I'm going to put 99 on this side. Now when I look at this, I have 99. Do I want to spend 100 or 98? Which one's okay? 98's okay. So I'm going to circle 99. Can I spend 99 though? Or it has to be below 99. So let's go to it. It says cannot spend more than 99. So it looks like I can spend 99 though, so I'm going to shade this in and point to the left. Now that I have the variable on the left side, I can go ahead and put less than here and equal because we shaded it in. At this point, we can just solve for x and we'll know how much I can spend on a shirt at most to still be under $99. Go ahead and solve for x on this. Now, if you're wondering about the inequalities, all the rules apply for inequalities. We haven't really talked about this. I can do the same exact rules as an equal sign, except when I divide or multiply by a negative, I have to flip the sign. So if I have 3x less than or equal to 9, and I divide by 3, the answer will be 3. But if I divide it here, I divide negative 3, the answer will be negative 3 here and x here, but this sign right here has to flip. That's the only rule that is different than solving it with an equal sign. So if I divide by it or multiply by a negative, that's where it changes. Okay? So don't forget that. You won't run into this problem on this one though, but just a heads up. Okay, go ahead and solve 12 times x plus 275 less than or equal to 99. Luis, you had a question?
Yeah, I went backwards. Is that fine?
As long as the inequality is the same, so like if you
Yeah,
put
that's
it here
as well, yeah.
and it still wants to eat the 99, you're fine. All right, what did you do first? So when solving this problem, are you guys ready? What did you do first? All right, so looking at this, you could probably figure out there's two options to do first. I could subtract the 275, or I could divide by the 12. What did you guys do? Or I could even distribute 12x times 12, or 12x and then 12 times 275. Which one? Distribution? Okay. So let's see. Now, let me erase this so we have some room to talk about it. Okay, if we do one like this, is there anyone who subtracted 275 first? Anyone do that? No? Does anyone see what the problem would be with that?
Wait, what? I wasn't paying attention.
That's nice. I've been talking forever and you weren't paying attention?
That's because I was doing it.
Oh, okay, you're doing work. Okay, if you subtract 275 on each one, is there a problem with that?
Yes,
Why?
because you're distributing.
Okay, but why is that a problem? Okay. So look at this. When you got to follow PEMDAS, basically. The problem with subtracting this as 275 is this isn't 275. This is supposed to be 12 times 275. So you're missing a lot on there because 12 times 275 is going to be over 24. Right? Actually, it's going to be in between 24 and 36 if you estimate, because this is between 2 and 3, 2.75. So it's in between that. That's a lot different than just 2.75. So that will give you a wrong answer. So we have to do something else. Let's erase this. Start over. And I already heard from you guys that we are going to distribute, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. What is 12 times x? 12x. So this is our double rainbow. What is 12 times 2.75? 33. All right. Now what?
Subtract both sides.
Okay.
Or what is it called?
So x is your bodyguard, just so we remember why. So x is your bodyguard. And we're going to subtract 33 both sides because it's not protecting that 33 well. What's 99 minus 33? 66. 12x. Now what? Divide. Do I flip the sign? Why? Because I'm dividing by a positive. When you divide by a negative, that's where this sign, the inequality, flips. X, 12 goes into 66.
5.50.
Is it? 5 point what? Oh, 5 point.
Yeah, divided.
Yeah, but 5 point what?
5.
5. I heard 5.15.
50.
Oh, 50. Sorry. All right, 5.5. Good job. So let's see if this makes sense. So this is $5.50, right? $5.49, $5.51. Circle, shade, based on this. Is it pointing to the left or right? Which one are you able to pay? $5.49 or $5.51?
49.
49. Sorry, that looked like a 1. All right. So it goes to the left. So yeah, it should point this way. Now let's see what that means. So I can pay $5.50, $5.49, $5.48, and anything lower, right? And they could even. What does it mean if it has negative? Like if this is negative $2?
You owe.
I don't owe. So they owe me $2. So if they're gonna give me money for going to their store, maybe it's a coupon or something like that, I can still go there. So I don't have to put something like this in between 0 and 550 because I could be using a coupon. We don't know. It could be a promotional offer, and that's why it could be in the negatives, is that they actually owe me money. Okay, so you can pay $5.50 for a blank shirt or less and still afford it to where you're only paying $99. Isn't that cool? Yeah, huh? Right? Okay. Any questions? No questions? Game without spending more than $100. Write and solve an inequality for this situation. So go ahead, pause the video, and try this problem. Okay, so first thing you want to do here is you want to make it to where instead of not knowing the value of the game, we give it a value, just like we did for the shirts. So before we were saying that the value of the game, let's make the video game cost $20. Game costs $20. So if it costs $20, if you have one game, it would be, what would be the total cost?
$20 plus $4.75.
$4.75. So 2 games would be just adding another one if it's the same exact game. 3 games, add it. 4 games, add it. So it's looking a lot like the shirt one. How many games are you planning to buy? 2. What is a better way to say 2 games rather than just adding it? Parentheses. Okay, so it looks exactly like the shirt one, and then the 2 on the outside. Now, we don't know that it's $20. So what could we do if it was $5? How would you change this? Change them all to 5, 10, change it all to 10. What if you don't know? Variable. Okay, so we're going to change this. What variable did you guys use? G for game? Okay, so G for game. So instead of the 20, we're going to change this to G. Okay, now what do you want to put on the other side? So we have to make an inequality and put it on the other side. But we want the G on the left side. So I'm going to put 2 times G plus 475. We got to put an inequality here. And what do we want on the right side? Okay, so we can't spend more than 100. So if you have $100 here, can it be equal to 100? Yeah, so shade it in like a multiple choice test. Are you wanting to spend 101 or 99? Which one's okay? 99, so we should point to the left. Since G is on the left side, your variable's on the left, we can just bring this up here, less than or equal to. Questions up to now? Any questions? No? How's this going? Making some sense or? Yeah? All right. Okay, so we have to the left here. How many already solved this? Okay, so not enough. So let's have it to where everyone's working together, solve this. This is your exit ticket. So we're going to end the video here and pick this up on the next slide for Wednesday. But for you guys in the class, go ahead and solve this as your exit ticket. We're going to find out what G is.